Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your full moon and Taurus reading and your end of October reading. I had to switch things up for you because, things just started getting heavy. And the last reading that I did for you guys right before this one, it was just too dark. It was like 45 minutes. And I was like, this cannot be life. So even though I know that you were mentioned in the whole, Leo reading and whatnot, or whatever, or, wrongfully implicated, I don't know, whatever. I said, I'm just going to do it over. I don't know if I might post it after I post everything, but, I said if the same energy comes up, then I know that's what's up, but part of me kind of feels like I was still attuned to Leo's energy, because it's a full moon. Dagnabbit, son of a gun. Dark side rises. So I'm using one of my decks that make me smile. And I'm going to leave you guys little thingy that I did for everybody else. I'm going to hold that until the end. So, Spirit, please give us clear and direct guidance for Virgo. Please, Spirit, clear and direct guidance. Clear energy for Virgo. Please. Please, Spirit. How are you, by the way? How's your Wednesday been? Been pretty good? That's awesome. Happy to hear that, man. Central energy. Challenge past influence what is below you. What is above you? What's going on before you? All right. So, now mind you, these cards are funny. So, the central energy for Virgo is the social justice warrior. The description says, you protect others from the injustices your parents sheltered you from. Is your effort to police ignorance in service of those on the front line or fuel for the delusion that you are a good person? Kind of. Hashtag trigger warning. That's what it says. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. But nonetheless, they say that you are innocent, empathic, privileged, and judgmental. Is it wrong for me to say that that sounds like some Virgos? I know. Just saying. Now, this is challenged by... Ooh. Your challenge is the fuck boy. Your romantic gestures include cock blocking. God, I'm old. Cock blocking. Asking for naked pics, and avoiding relationships. Will the same tactics continue to get you laid or bring you sexual misconduct suits? This guy probably works in advertising sales and has lots of unused DJ equipment. Oh my God, this is freaking hilarious. This is interesting. So if I were to just simply go off of this, y'all, it seems like, I don't know, it's like a perfectionist kind of chick who's very upstanding and nice presentation, but I don't know, it's like that good girl loves bad boys kind of thing going on there. I like this, Virgo. This is nicer for me. I prefer this. Oh, past influence is the quarter life crisis. You dream of something better and play out scenarios in your head of what could be. Any step is better than no step. Will you take a leap of faith and let life surprise you, or continue to live in a constant state of angst? Unfulfilled potential, unhappy, hopeful, indecisive, and fearful. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. This is the first time I feel like I got a serious, extra little deep stuff going on with my little funny cards. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so what I'm seeing for Virgos is, they call this a quarter life crisis, but I look at it more or less as like an existential crisis. It's when you come into this place where it's like, what the hell has my life become? You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I? Where am I? What does this all mean? And I don't remember what reading I even said this in, but, I don't even remember, but it was with the 9 of, Pentacles. And I was saying this whole thing about how, you work super, super hard, might have been Aries, to obtain something. And then you get there, and it was a lot more unfulfilling than you thought. So it's like you kind of thought that that was going to be the thing. Sorry. you kind of thought that obtaining this particular thing was going to be like almost like the healing salve or the thing that would fill that void within you. But it's almost reaching the height of that pinnacle and then realizing that it's a lot more emptier at the top, per se, than it was at the bottom. So it's kind of like the search for meaning, right? But this is kind of reminding me of this energy that I picked up on, y'all, a while back, of this whole thing of this image. It's this, how can I put it? I mean, I already know how I can put it. I ask a lot of rhetorical questions. So it's more or less this being the presentation that's being showed to the world. Like this person who's so passionate and cares about people and issues. And, you know, I give to charity and I work at this place and I'm doing this stuff and this is my life and this is me and blah, 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 right? So it's this whole perception that's being projected, and not projected in a subconscious sense, but I mean, this is something you're intentionally orchestrating to show people, like, I have it all together and my life is grand, right? But underneath that lies a person that's very unfulfilled. And I feel like I've had this conversation with you guys before in the sense of like, what is more important to you? And oh, well, thank you. I get to be a counselor today. This is where this person comes into this role. It's like the whole good girls like bad boys thing. It's living vicariously through a person like this. Because it's like, okay, you forcing yourself to be a person where you're living in this space where you're upstanding and you do things right and people don't watch you make mistakes and you're always neatly dressed and blah, 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 right? Always knowing the right thing to say, so on and so forth. So being in this position or projecting this, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if that's how you vibe in real life. The only reason why I'm saying anything about it is because you got this going all up behind here. You know what I'm saying? If you were happy in this space, and if this brought you joy, then cool. But why put yourself through the torture of projecting an untruth onto the world if at the heart of it you're not happy? But how it is that you're coping with this fact that it's like self-imposed limitation. It's like, I think about it almost like this is a good example, like a religious type of thing, right? So say hypothetically, if you have a person who, I don't know, is in like I don't want to say a priest. Just a person who's in a very religious role. Okay, we could even say like a famous life coach or something. So it's this person who has created this box for themselves because they have to be the idyllic version of a person. You know what I'm saying? So you can't have the faults, you can't have the flaws. And if you have flaws, it's kind of like the kind of flaws that you tell, you know, a potential boss about on a job interview. Like, what are one of your weaknesses? You know, I'm a workaholic. Some people tell me that come too early and stay too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure you do. It's like one of those kind of things. So it's a lot of suppressed, unexpressed, and I'm feeling this in a sense of like maybe like sexual energy, and whether that's in creativity or actually your sexuality, it's just oppressing yourself. Or even a similarity to that would be of someone who's gay who hasn't come out yet and they're pretending to be straight. You know what I'm saying? It's like all this repressed energy, and it's like, oh my gosh. So it's like energy, even when we push it down, it has to go somewhere. And it ain't going nowhere. It's there. And it's just kind of locked away. Like, you know, Mount Vesuvius. I hope that's the right thing. I hope that's the volcano mountain. But anyway, but the way that you're kind of like channeling this energy is by dealing with people like this. Because it's like your guilty pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how you're able to channel this like repressed version of yourself. Now, this is interesting and this is news to me because this is all up in my realm of just different things I study and write about in, you know, women's psychology and dating and things of the sort. But this is insight to me, like literally, like at this moment, because it's like, that's interesting. It's as simple as a projection type of thing. Like, I'm living vicariously through you. So that's the essence of why good girls like bad boys. And it's not to say that they're really not good girls. It's just, you know, they doing a little self-denial. You know what I'm saying? You need to wild out a little bit. So him being able to wild out, you're wilding out through him on some stuff, right? So, and I think the reason why a lot of people may misconstrue, like, oh my gosh, like, why are you talking to people like that, is because there's a part of you that's like this free-spirited wild child that is being suppressed because of this idealization that you feel like you're supposed to be in alignment with for whatever reason. But it sounds like super ego stuff to me. Like it's, and I kind of touched on that with Cancer too, of it being your primal desires and then this like high level ideal of should, oughts, and supposed to's, like the person you should be, ought to be, supposed to be, right? Now, beneath that, we have the bro grammar. You decode society into perfect logical building blocks. You create innovative but frequently meaningless systems. Will you remember that laughter and surprise arise from what is accidental and chaotic? That is so funny. Now, this is very true. Now, this is the hidden influence. So this shows me that this repression of yourself goes a lot deeper, but it's rooted in fear. And I guess everybody's reading, we are all getting stuff revealed to us that's rooted in fear. So the whole thing is you fear losing control. So my inference, I would say correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't answer back. But, you know, correct me if I'm wrong and pretend that, you know, I answered back. But anyway, but correct me if I'm wrong. But my inference would be that the reason why you've created like this little armor person that you exist inside of is, you know where I'm going, right? Back in the day, I won't necessarily say just your childhood, but in the past, you know what I'm saying? It could be in your teenage years, it could be in your early adulthood. You had an experience of what happens when you're not in control, and that scared the living shit out of you. Or you watched it happen with your parents. Had to throw that in there. So you encountered what it felt like or saw what it looked like to be completely out of control and made a promise to yourself that you would never be that person. You would never be there. This would never happen to me type of deal. This sounds so eerily similar to this reading that we've done a few months ago. But it's like, so you almost built, you know, this, I get to tell you a story about me. You built a fortress. Let me tell you this quick dream that I had that this is reminding me of. And one of my dreams, I was like on a hill, right? And I'm talking to Spirit. And Spirit's like, I want to show you something. I was like, cool. You know what I'm saying? So we go to the edge of this little cliff. And I look down. And it looked like, what is that game my son plays? Minecraft. Like, it didn't look like that. But if you think about, like, building stuff, it kind of had, like, that, you know, vast landscape. So I look down, and there is this massive white concrete, like, maze. And I mean, it went on for miles and miles and miles, like as far as I could see, up until the horizon. Like, it just was this freakishly huge maze. So, I mean, it's going in all these different directions or whatever, but it's all intricately built. So I'm looking at this and I was like, what on earth is that? And Spirit was like, that's your life. I was like, excuse me? What do you mean? Then Spirit brings me through, like, step by step. He said, every time in your life that you got hurt, anytime in your life you were rejected, anytime that you felt shame, anytime you felt humiliated, he said it started with one hallway, and every time you felt something you didn't want to feel, you built another one. You felt something you didn't want to feel, you built another one. So he said from literally that point until now, well, not now, but I mean at the time when I had the dream, that I had built all of these pathways for thousands of miles, okay? Because this thing, dude, I'm going to have to draw this out one day. Like, it is insane to think that many defense mechanisms is like, dog, really? So anywho, so Spirit is like, you know, you built another pathway anytime you felt something that you didn't want to feel. was like, that's insane. But I'm like, but it makes sense. You know, why is that a bad idea? So seeing how intricate this thing was, I was like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? Like, why are you showing me this? And he's like, well, you've outgrown it. And I'm like, and I could feel the sensation because I almost felt like I had the impression like I was squatting down and like my knees are bent and I'm like this, like trying to walk through it. And so Spirit's like, you know, you've outgrown it. And I felt that. So I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, that is correct. So I said, well, what am I supposed to do now? And Spirit was like, knock it down. And in that second, I felt a level of vulnerability that I can not even describe. It's the equivalent of standing in Times Square and someone ripping all of your clothes off. And everyone just looking. And you not being prepared for such a thing. It's literally what it felt like. And I'm like, knock it down. And that caused me so much anxiety because I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, if I just knock it down, it's like, I'm vulnerable. They can see me. You know what I'm saying? They're going to know where I am. You know what I'm saying? So all of these thoughts like come in, completely freaks me out. And then I wake up. So of course, I was completely just discombobulated. But it's like, I was at this place where I knew it had to be done, but I didn't want to. But I say that, I share this with you to say that this is the same energy that I'm getting from this card. It's like this entire maze that I built up to protect myself from feelings I didn't want to feel, it inadvertently caused me to be in an energy like this, being unhappy, feeling numb, feeling dead inside. Why? Because I wasn't experiencing life anymore. Granted, I was safe. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oop. One of those people, let's look at our little list. It's like, okay, hallway 1642. That's the fuckboy hallway. We're not going that way. Detour. You know what I'm saying? But it made my life completely devoid of experience. And I feel like that's the same thing you guys are sensing here. The reason why you're feeling like you're in this, you know, quarter life crisis, hashtag existential crisis, is because you're not experiencing life anymore. It's like you're going through the motions to project a facade to people who really don't give a shit anyway. And I'm being 100% honest because people literally don't give a shit. Everyone in the world is going through so much stuff, so many things in their life that they are just completely, you know, enamored with, that when people are on social media, they will scroll past your stuff and give a shit about you for 2.5 seconds before they scroll past you. And then it's back to them using, you know, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, as a distraction from the horrendousness that is life. And that's just the reality of it. So you living your life miserably just to project an illusion or to, you know, make people happy that are in your family or in your friend group or whatever at the cost of your own peace and enjoyment of life. Why? You know what I'm saying? It's not worth it in the long run. And I say that from experience. It's like me having that dream and seeing that in a tangible fashion, as terrified as I was like, well, I got to learn how to live without it because it became a crutch. It's like it became my fortress, my protection, but also my prison because I was isolated, alone within that, not having experiences, not having organic experiences. Because this is where this kind of becomes like a mind trick is when you create all of these defenses, boundaries on fleek, you end up in a place to where you start orchestrating experiences. Right? And what I mean by orchestrating experiences is like your boyfriend never buys you flowers on Valentine's Day. The day before Valentine's Day, you nag and say, you don't ever buy me flowers. And when I'm at work, everybody else is getting flowers. And I don't get no flowers. And da-da-da-da-da. And that's just not right. I don't understand. You don't love me. Blah, blah, right? So the dude's like, fine. So the next day, he goes to the florist, orders you some roses, has them delivered to your job. And everybody at the job is like, oh my gosh, oh, you nobody sent me no roses. And you're like, yeah, girl, he sent me roses. But it's like, how fulfilling is that? You had an experience, nonetheless. You got flowers and all the chicks in your office were like, oh my gosh, I wish I had that. But they're wishing they had something that doesn't really exist because you, in essence, sent yourself flowers. You know what I mean? So that's not an organic experience. So this is where this unhappiness comes from. But I do see that this is starting to fade away because it's in your past position. Now, the thing that's in you guys' mental space is feel the burn. You know what I'm saying? The Bernie disciple. Did you vote for Bernie? I'm not going to tell you what I did. I did not vote for Trump. Fighting alongside a leader for affordable health care seems noble. Will defeat lead to helpless embitterment, or will you pledge your arms to another and continue the fight? This is funny. The place, like with this symbol, is like, you know, if it was a place, but it's not a place. If it was, it would be reddit.com/politics, which I think is hilarious. But anyway, so the thing that I'm seeing here with this is it's more or less like recalibrating. So it's like all of us who felt the burn. You know what I'm saying? When we didn't feel the burn no more, it was like, you know, pick a side and things, you know? Some of us picked sides, you know, and stuff. So the thing that I'm seeing for Virgo is you're at this proverbial crossroads. And I think a lot of what I'm saying here is a lot of what it is that you know already. It's knowing that you had this picture in your mind of the life that you wanted to live and what you wanted it to look like, right? And you had a way of going about doing that that wasn't necessarily in your highest good. You know what I mean? It had the look of the life that you desired, but it wasn't in essence the life that you desired. So now it becomes a thing of, you know, it's like the death of a fairy tale in a sense. It's the fact of none of us have perfect lives. Life isn't perfect. It's never going to be perfect. You know, every human being that's breathing on this earth is suffering. It's the sad but bitter truth. It's the beautiful thing about being a human. So it's more or less making a choice between a lesser of two evils. You know what I mean? But the beauty in that is that it's your choice to choose whichever path you decide to go. But just as I outgrew my maze, just as it became no longer useful, like what was once in service to me to keep me safe was now inhibiting me and holding me back, so the same with you. So the power lies in your hands, right? It's all up to you of how things go forward from here. Now, where you're going in the future, that's why I love this deck. It gives me the giggles. Is the fireball. Boot and rally is not a phrase, but a way of life. Your insistent voice and boundless energy brings life to the party. You will bring people joy. But will you respect when they do not want to take 5 consecutive group shots? That is extremely funny. So here's the thing. You're going into an energy where you get to live your life unashamed. It's you taking off this armor. It's you showing up in life as your authentic self. You know what I'm saying? Without any excuses, without any disclaimers, without any need to give explanations or reason or, you know, rationalizations behind why you are what you are. If you present how you rock into people and they don't rock with it, fuck them. Real talk. Just saying. There's nothing that you need to modify or change because we've been there or done that already. Now, let me disclaimer that. I'm not saying in general there's nothing you need to modify or change. I'm talking about for the benefit of people, okay? Because that's where we at right now, okay? Just saying. So it's the simple fact of you showing up as yourself, and if people don't accept that, then that's cool. You know what I'm saying? You don't want people in your space that don't vibe with you anyway. Like, seriously. And that's what I think the most beautiful thing is about showing up is who you really are. You know what I'm saying? And being truthful and honest and clear and direct about what it is that you're vibing with and what you're not. Because if you're not real about that, you're going to have all of the wrong type of people in your space. And it's like, why keep people around you that you really don't like, or that, you know, you really wouldn't chill with or hang out with or work with or date or anything for that matter? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like submitting yourself to a life that was never intended to belong to you, but feeling as if that's your lot in life and you're stuck there and you're not. You know what I'm saying? So it's more or less you guys are going into this place of confidence, of being unashamed, of celebrating who you are regardless of what anyone feels about it. And I'm seeing that more or less as like the energy of like the star card. You know what I mean? So it's a mini little transformation that you guys are going through. So your oracles, because I'm making this easier on myself. I picked these ahead of time. The first one that we have is surrender to divine timing, which is sometimes divine timing may differ from your ego's timing. If a goal isn't manifesting fast enough according to your ego, be patient and trust universal flow. So trust the process. Like I've been telling people back to back to back for the last couple of days, is that spirit has began and will complete a perfect work in you. The process is already underway. Like everything goes in cycles, just as, you know, spring turns into summer, summer to fall, fall to winter, winter again to spring. The clock has to turn, the wheel has to turn. But you just have to trust that, you know, as things are unfolding, they're unfolding in your highest good always, right? Next card we have is surrender to success. You got a fear of success going on, let go. You are ready to experience abundance. Don't look back at previous roadblocks or difficulties. Leap into an exciting new world of possibilities. That's that same kind of essence of what I've been telling everyone else. It's like you're operating out of a new energy now. You know what I mean? So what it is that you're desiring or what it is that you want to manifest into your life, it's not that far-fetched. It's not that far off. It's very obtainable. And if you are, you know, dealing with a fear of success or a fear of failure, that's something that's being revealed to you now that you want to deal with going forward. Next, surrender to creativity, which makes total sense. So you can stop dealing with the fuckboys. You know, express yourself. Let all of that, you know, sacral energy you got going on, let that out. Let your imagination soar. My mouth. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. Being a little flexible. Surrender defensiveness. Defensiveness is a sign of weakness. To communicate in a more empowered way, stay centered and hear someone out, then offer a clear, non-defensive response. That's dope. That makes me think about Leo's little new moon ditty. Oh, I forgot. You got two more. But yeah, surrender and defensiveness, this is one thing. Let me tell you a little secret about life. So, any form of power that's manifested in an external exertion, that's not real power. It's pseudo power. True power comes from within, you know? And that's what the strength card is symbolic of why, you know, it means self-control. Because once you master the self, you have mastered everything. You know what I'm saying? You and your experience is your own best teacher. As you learn those themes of self-mastery, you can start to apply that as like a little grid and a schematic to start to sort out different facets of life, if that makes sense. So anyone who acts in like aggression or like domination, you know what I'm saying? Like if and at you and stuff like that, like that's a person that's weaker than you think, you know? People with true power, they just be chilling in the cut. The ever unfolding rose. Dancing. Okay. Cracked open, it's happening for you, not to you. That is an important point about life. Life, and I tell this about clients all the time, life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. So everything is always working out for your highest good. You know what I mean? Everything is in benefit to you. And it's like that quote that I posted. It's like people can even think that they're trying to oppress you, But it's like they're completely blinded to the fact that they've actually inadvertently given you a gift. You know what I mean? So it's never really a setback. You're never really stuck. And that's why it's so important to be present and to honor whatever space you're in your life at this particular time. Because there's something there for you to learn. There's something there for you to gain. Next card you have is take a break. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. I was about to sing the song just now, but I'm not going to do that to y'all. I just heard the song by Jasmine Sullivan called Circles. Keep going in circles, circles, round and round, and while you're doing it so wrong, I just keep holding you down. I feel so stupid for loving you this way. But what can I say? I want to go, but I keep coming back. Sorry, had to have a dance breakdown. You knew it was coming. Anyway, listen to that song. Might help you. So, before I let you guys go, I'm going to throw in this little segue of what I wrote for you guys for the new moon. The seed of intention to plant is gratitude. It says, what are you grateful for, Virgo? How often do you find yourself meditating on those super dope things on a daily basis? Gratitude is equivocal to happiness. Are you happy? If you aren't, is it because of your present circumstances? External circumstances are temporary, and how you feel about them can be altered by something as simple as changing your thoughts about them. If your unhappiness exists a part of external circumstances, it's time to take a personal inventory of your life. Decide what that looks like. Okay, decide what that life looks like and what happiness looks like for you. And then make the decision to create the life of your dreams. Well, dag son of a gun, your mantra is, I'm clarity. Hey, just go ahead and make me an oracle deck. Those are better at the end of the readings than at the beginning. Well, all right then, dag son of a gun. I can't even co-sign myself with that one. Wow. With the funny deck. Okay. Yeah, man. If you're not happy with the way that your life looks now, make some changes. That's real. I can't even say nothing about that. It's my own words. My own words left me speechless. I'm feeling some type of way about that. Okay. That's what's hot in the streets right now. But yeah, man. If you're unhappy with yourself, you want to get to the root of that. But if you're unhappy with the circumstances in your life, that's temporary. It's a season. You know, like kind of how I said, everything turns into another thing. So it's keeping your mind on the fact that the season will change. But if it's not based on an external thing, so it's like if your unhappiness isn't based in the fact of like, oh, I'm broke right now, which is something that's temporary until your paycheck come on Friday. But if you're unhappy about your life in general, which is what was showing up in that quarter life crisis card, it's like, it's time to, like this card said, get off of the treadmill. Take a step back and look at your maze that you built. See if you've outgrown it. For you guys, I see it as like an armor. It's no longer useful. It was something that worked for you as a kid or a teenager or a young adult, whatever, to get you to where it is that you're headed to. Or, well, it's something that got you to where you are now, but where you're headed to, that can't come with you because it's going to become an obstruction of justice. Hashtag karma. Hashtag new cycle. Hashtag transformation. Hashtag ascension. Okay, I'm done. I love you, Virgo. I will see you guys later. Deuces.